Well, good morning, and we're here for one of our 12 Days of KRUXmas conversations, and really delighted to be able to speak with Angelo Hannival. He's the national coordinator.
Yes.
With Sports Chaplaincy South Africa, and also spend some time here doing chaplaincy work with Stellenbosch Football Club.
That's great.
But yeah, just delighted to have you to be a part of this series of just really casual conversations to give people some things to think about, some themes and ideas to reflect on in this season. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I just want to give you first off an opportunity just to introduce yourself, anything you'd like to share about who you are, what you do, and
Okay, like you mentioned, my name is Angelo Hannival, and I'm the National Coordinator for Sports Chaplaincy South Africa, which is a sports ministry movement here in South Africa where we basically just provide spiritual care, support and guidance to sports athletes, sports teams, may that be the staff of the sports teams or the ground staff or the security guards. So again, and then I'm obviously also the official chaplain for Stellenbosch Football Club, which is a professional football club here in Cape Town, Stellenbosch. That's basically in a nutshell who I am.
And you have a family?
Yes, I have a family. I have a beautiful wife. We were recently married for 12 years on the 30th of November. And then I have a daughter, a beautiful daughter, which is at the tender age of 9 years old, turning 21. Yeah. So
yes, we have an 8-year-old. I say 8-year-old going on 18, right?
That's correct. That's
correct. Yeah. So cool. Well, I wanted to, in having you join us, I just wanted to invite you to share a bit about, in this conversation, a bit about sports chaplaincy and sport, I think more generally. And so to start, just, how do you see God at work in sport, or what does God have to do with sport?
I think that's an interesting question because God has blessed us all with unique talents, and with sports people has been blessed with unique talents to play a particular sport, may that be at the roots level or at the elite level. And I think that God has created us in a way where we can do that. I believe that Jesus was relational, and Jesus being relational with sports people, because there's a big aspect of teamwork, and so that's in a nutshell, just to give you a brief description of why I feel that sport is important.
And thinking about maybe you can share a little bit about the different ways you've been involved with sport. Maybe how have you seen God at work? Maybe in the arenas you've been in.
I think sports people find their identity in sport, and being a part of an ecosystem that I'm a part of, I'm beginning to see sports people ask questions about is my identity in sport or is my identity in Christ? And I'm beginning to witness and see and ask myself the question, imagine you have sports people playing with the thought process around that their identity is in Christ and not in sport. I think this whole aspect of playing with fear, playing with anxiety, playing to please a crowd will kind of not disappear, but it will make it lighter. And that's what I'm beginning to witness and experience. And I think that experience is with the presence of being around, with the presence of hanging around with intent, with the presence of not being judgmental, with the presence of imitating the life of Christ. And I think that's what I am beginning to see, and that's my understanding.
No, I think those two things are really crucial, that aspect of identity that you talked about, and then also from the chaplaincy side, of being present with intent.
That's correct.
And that is something that I think it transcends sports. There's lots of contexts where I think as Christians, if we have that mindset of I want to be present with intent, that's such a valuable concept or way of thinking about how we engage different spaces and people. But yeah, identity and presence really valuable.
Yep.
Yep. To move a little bit more to Sports Chaplaincy South Africa specifically, maybe you can just share a little bit about the organization, some of the things that it does.
So Sports Chaplaincy South Africa ultimately is about identifying and walking a journey and training up and like I said, identifying chaplains or individuals that feels that they are called to serve South Africa's sporting community in a pastoral perspective, in a mentorship perspective, and provide care to sports people across South Africa. So it's about training up and accrediting sports chaplains and to create a presence within South Africa, may that be grassroots or may that be at the elite level, but to the dream and the desire is for every sports team to consider having a chaplain or a chaplaincy presence that can provide care and support to sports people.
And can you speak a little bit to the significance? So I think often when we think of sports chaplains, we might think of that elite level.
Yes.
But maybe you can just speak to the significance of having a presence in the grassroots, so the local community.
I think I can speak from previous experience is that when I started with Sports Chaplaincy South Africa, I started with a grassroots football club, and I'm sure that the club won't mind me mentioning, but it's Goal 15 Heideveld. It's a football club that is in the middle of Cape Town, which they call Heideveld. It's on the Cape Flats. It is in the middle of where there's immense poverty, gangsterism, drugs, methods of alcohol abuse, and so I found myself within that community for about 4 years of being the community chaplain. And funny story, I'm immersed within community, and people started calling me pastor. People started identifying me as a pastor, and it wasn't necessarily what was happening on the sports field. It's actually what is happening behind the sports field, behind the stadium we call it, and that required relationships, that required intentional relationships that you might know you are making or might not know that you are making, and it was that power of presence and obviously using wisdom in a very vulnerable community, and that's where I started, and that's where grassroots chaplaincy I think was at its most vulnerable, if you want to put it that way, because it required 4 years of relationship to a point now that we're seeing the fruits of having a presence, having a positive presence, not to be judgmental, but to literally just hang around and to show no partiality and to imitate the life of Christ in a very, very difficult space. So that's just to give you a broad description of a community chaplain or a grassroots chaplain compared to where I'm now, where I'm walking the journey with professional athletes. But I believe that God prepared me at the community level before I was able to now be at the point of walking a journey with professional athletes.
And what are some of the types of things that sports chaplains do, right? So we've been talking a little bit about presence, just being present, but I mean, maybe there's people who are interested in pursuing chaplaincy, or just curious to know more. What kinds of things do sports chaplains do?
I think there's a broad variety. Firstly, a sports chaplain is not a life coach. We are literally individuals that want to be your friend. We individuals that wants to hear your story, and want to, and I think a sports chaplain is somebody that listens well and tries and asks the right questions. It's somebody that is hanging around again with intention.
Yeah.
It's somebody that is being authentic and real, and it's somebody that is imitating the life of Christ. And then there's a bunch of other things that chaplains do, and we providing not only care to that sports person, but to that sports person's family, because we believe that transformational change happens in the entire household, and not only through one individual. And again, like I said, mentorship, providing guidance, providing support through the life journey that you have experienced, with the hope that you're able to walk a journey with somebody that is going through life. So yeah.
The last question that I had was just to ask, why is sports chaplaincy important?
I think sports chaplaincy for me is important because, again, like I said in the beginning, God has gifted you with a particular talent, with me with a particular talent, and God has blessed sports people with an artistic ability to do things that not any person can do. And I think that there's this big aspect of individual sports, but a massive aspect of team sports. And again, I believe that Jesus was relational, and when we speak about teamwork, I think that that athletes were designed to compete, but also designed to figure out how do we compete through teamwork. And so again, that requires that requires being relational, and I think that is why it's important that we are able to serve sports people, and that's why we believe that sports chaplaincy is important. That we can continue the journey.
No, I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to have a conversation. And just share a little bit about who you are and what you're doing. Is there anything else about sports chaplaincy South Africa, things that are going on with the organization, or just anything else that you'd want to share with anybody who might watch or listen?
I think for those watching, and those listening, it's to briefly support Sports Chaplaincy South Africa. We are a small sports ministry, and we're wanting to set a footprint within South Africa sports. And again, the dream and the vision is for every sports team to have a chaplain. And just to pray for financial provision, that we can continue doing the work that we feel God has called us to do. And none of our chaplains get paid for what they're doing. It's all voluntary, and we know that a coffee is not for free, and we know that petrol is not for free, and so we just ask for prayer for God's provision, and that we continue to grow as a ministry to serve South Africa sports people and communities.
Can I ask, because I think for me, I'm always amazed at the thinking about the volunteerism involved in so many ministries, including this one. How many people are involved serving as chaplains, or have been trained and maybe looking at opportunities, or just involved in the
Right now we have across South Africa, we have about 41 chaplains that has been accredited, that is either serving in a formal capacity or in an informal capacity. And so that's chaplains that has been trained up, and I think as of this year we've trained up about close to 40 individuals that is maybe still briefly considering to be a chaplain, because we do feel that it is a calling from God. It is weighty, it is heavy, and you are providing support and lending a listening ear, and so there's things that you juggle with as a chaplain that's heavy and weighted. And so again, but anyway, just to answer your question, we do have 41 chaplains across South Africa that is serving in an informal and a formal capacity, and again all voluntary, like I said, serving in various ministries, and chaplaincy being one of the ministry that they're serving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, and yeah, it's always good to chat.
Yeah.
So no, thanks a lot, and appreciate the work, and
Thank
we'll
you.
continue to pray for everything going on with Sports Chaplaincy South Africa and with the football club as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
God bless.